Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? How's your day going?
I'm quite well. Do you know by any chance what the date today is?
Absolutely. Today's date is October 2nd, 2025. Let me know if you need anything else.
Amazing. I mean, that's spot on. So, I want us to have a discussion, and the aim of this discussion is to help me train and improve on my public speaking. So, the way I want us to approach is by you giving me a couple of questions, maybe five at maximum, on a topic that we'll agree on. You will evaluate my speech and how, in relation to, in regard to, I'll be answering your questions. And at the end of the day, I want you to do an analysis of my areas of strength and my areas of weaknesses to just help me gauge where I am and areas that I can improve on. Sound? How does that sound?
That sounds like a fantastic plan. I'm totally on board. We can definitely choose a topic that interests you, and then I can give you a few questions to answer. After that, I'll provide some feedback and help you identify areas for growth. Just let me know what topic you'd like to focus on.
Yeah, I want us to focus on politics, especially youth leadership in the context of Kenya.
Perfect. That's a really engaging and relevant topic. I'll come up with a few questions around youth leadership, challenges and opportunities in Kenya, and then we can dive into your responses and refine your skills from there. Let's get started whenever you're ready.
Yeah, sure. Let's get it rolling.
Awesome. All right, let's kick things off with a few questions. Here we go. One, what do you believe are the biggest challenges facing young leaders in Kenya today? Two, how can young leaders effectively engage with their communities to drive positive change? Three, in what ways can technology and social media be leveraged by youth leaders to amplify their impact? Four, what role do you think education and mentorship play in nurturing effective youth leaders? Five, can you share an example of a young leader in Kenya who has inspired you? And what lessons can be drawn from their journey? Feel free to pick any of these to start with, and we can go from there.
Yeah, I would want us to go sequentially, so you just ask me a question at a time. I'll give you the answer. And yeah, how does that sound?
Sounds great. Let's start with the first question then. So, to kick things off, what do you believe are the biggest challenges facing young leaders in Kenya today? Whenever you're ready, go ahead and share your thoughts.
Yeah, sure. The biggest challenges I think face young leaders in Kenya is one, bad political systems that are legacy and quite difficult to change. Lack of education in the among the electorate, so you find that the electorate don't really know what they want, and this really poses a challenge in electability of new and young leaders. Another one is lack of support from older and more established leaders who should be like mentors to the new generation. So there's that lack of goodwill to support and mentor young leaders. Third is, the next point would be financial constraints. So most of the young leaders or the aspiring young leaders are not established financially, and this poses a very big challenge in terms of their electability, in terms of reaching, selling their agendas and having their impact felt. Yeah, that is my response.
That's a really insightful response. You covered some key points like the entrenched political systems, the illustrious education gap, the lack of mentorship, and financial constraints. All of those definitely pose significant challenges for young leaders. I'll keep all that in mind, and once we go through a few more questions, I'll give you detailed feedback. Ready for the next question whenever you are.
Yeah, sure. Let's go to the next question.
All right, perfect. Here's the next one. How can young leaders effectively engage with their communities to drive positive change? Feel free to share your thoughts whenever you're ready.
Yeah, young leaders the way that young leaders can engage with their community is through driving public participation. Doing a lot of public participation, uh, offering to volunteering to do public civic education. Yeah, and also doing uh, coming out to advocate for good governance and just talking about what their expectations of the current political establishments are, and also coming out to vie for political positions and also participating in voting and bringing about the change that they want.
That's a solid answer. You touched on some great strategies like fostering public participation, civic education, advocacy for good governance, and active participation in elections. All of these are essential for young leaders to create meaningful change. We'll keep building on these ideas, and once we've gone through a few more questions, I'll give you comprehensive feedback. Ready for the next one whenever you are.
Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead.
Awesome. Here's the next question. In what ways can technology and social media be leveraged by youth leaders to amplify their impact? Whenever you're ready, go ahead and share your thoughts.
Yeah, sure. So technology and technological platforms like social media can be key in having young leaders amplify their impact. For example, reaching out audience and selling their agendas of change. Another one would be it can be used for advocacy, talking about what is going on, and just sharing, creating awareness. Also, technology can be used to do civic education and also collect public views on various aspects of governance and just drive change. Yeah, that's my answer.
That's a great answer. You highlighted how tech and social media can help young leaders reach wider audiences, advocate effectively, raise awareness, and even gather feedback from the public. Is definitely a powerful tool for amplifying their impact. We're making great progress. Let's move on to the next question when you're ready.
Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead.
Awesome. Here comes the next one. What role do you think education and mentorship play in nurturing effective youth leaders? Feel free to dive in with your thoughts whenever you're ready.
Yeah, education is critical in nurturing young leaders. One, because through education, we are able to instill, the right cultures of accountability, core ethical principles that make great leaders. We are also able to instill national values that are entrenched in our constitution. Yeah, so mentorship also helps pass on the experience of um, older leaders and pass down the experience of governance to younger generation and generally build a future generation of great and competent leaders, also in boosting their level of confidence and so on. So mentorship is a very critical um, it's a very critical aspect in creating future leaders. And also education we can be used as a tool of creating patriotic leaders. Yeah, that's my response to that question.
That's a really well-rounded response. You did a great job highlighting how education instills essential ethical principles and national values, and how mentorship passes on valuable experience and boosts confidence. It's clear that both elements are crucial for nurturing effective youth leaders. We're definitely making good progress. Let's move on to the final question whenever you're ready.
Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead.
Perfect. Here's the final question. Can you share an example of a young leader in Kenya who has inspired you, and what lessons can be drawn from their journey? Whenever you're ready, go ahead and share that example.
I mean, a young leader who's really inspired me in Kenya, I would say someone like Ndindi Nyoro. So the lessons I would pick from him is one, discipline, continuous learning, and empathy. So I feel like he's quite a disciplined leader, quite empathetic, and always learning and sharing his learning experiences, and always willing to educate other, and the amount of connection that he has with the people. So yeah.
That's a fantastic example. You really captured some important qualities like discipline, continuous learning, and empathy, as well as the importance of connecting with the community. It's a great way to highlight the real world impact that young leaders can have. We've gone through all the questions now. Once you're ready, I can give you some feedback and insights on your responses, and we can see where you shine and where you can improve. Sound good?
Sure, let's dive into it.
Absolutely. Overall, you did really well. You provided thoughtful, well-rounded answers and demonstrated a strong understanding of the topic. A few strengths I noticed. You clearly articulated the challenges and solutions, and you backed up your points with specific examples. You also maintained a good balance between theory and practical application. In terms of areas for improvement, you could work on refining your delivery for clarity and conciseness, and maybe add a bit more personal reflection or storytelling to make your points even more engaging. But overall, you did a fantastic job. Let me know if there's anything specific you'd like to dive deeper into, or any other way I can help.
Yeah, sure, that would be it. I appreciate you for your feedback and for your time.
You're very welcome. I'm really glad we could go through it together. If you ever want to practice more or dive into other topics, just let me know. Good luck with your public speaking journey, and I'm always here if you need anything.
Amazing. Thank you, and cheers.
You're most welcome. It's been a pleasure, and definitely cheers to you as well. If you ever need anything else, just give me a shout. Have a great year.
Sure.